Welcome to the Primo's Musings podcast.
Good morning. This is Shri here, and I'm here to do a quick recap on the men's semifinals and the women's semifinal at the Indian Wells Tennis Tournament in California. Let's start with the first match, which is the Sinner and Alcaraz. And this was a match that was, as both Dan and I, during our preview, talked about rematch of the U.S. Open, the small edge to Sinner, who has actually beaten Alcaraz the last two times. And it was a good match to start off with. And Sinner was definitely, he's riding on a 19-game winning streak. This year he has not lost, coming off a big Grand Slam win in Australia, coming back from 2 sets down against Medvedev. And Alcaraz, coming off, I would say, as Dan kind of called it, kind of questioning himself because he was not winning many matches. He has not won a single tournament this year, and losing to unknown players in rounds. So coming back to this match, Sinner, it was again a rain curtailed play. And after the rain delay, Sinner and Alcaraz resumed, and Sinner was definitely the better player. I mean, both the players hit the ball so hard, and there was everything that you could ask for: drop shots, great serves, the ball going at 100 miles an hour, return shots, and moving each of them. There was so many oohs and ah moments during the match. And Sinner definitely got the best of the first set was 6-1, but it didn't look like a 6-1. Alcaraz was in the game for most of the time. 1 or 2 points swung in Sinner's favor. But the second set was a completely different affair. With once Alcaraz broke Sinner early in the game, he cruised to a 6-3 victory in the second set. And in the third set, it seemed like Alcaraz went on another gear. He put on another gear. He ripped his forehands. I've not seen many players at this caliber hit like a drop shot to another player who is probably in the top 3 of the world. Almost like looking from the baseline. That's just Carlos. That's one of his biggest weapons that he has. He draws his opponents closer to the net. But incredible rallies. Both of them, displayed, it was almost, the match was played at a very high level, almost like a major. But Alcaraz managed to, reel off, matches. Like we won the first 5 out of 6 games and came back to win the match at 6-2. So Alcaraz is back in the final, as I predicted, and he would play Medvedev, who played against Tommy Paul of the United States. And Tommy Paul looked unbeatable in the first set. I mean, he just romped to a 6-1 victory. Medvedev had no answers to Tommy Paul. Tommy was definitely the better player. He's been, I did talk about Tommy Paul, that he's been one of the best Americans on tour right now, or Tiafoe or Fritz, very consistent. And Medvedev had no answers to Tommy Paul. And in the second set, it was a very close affair as well. But there was one incident that happened that Tommy Paul, I think, seemed to have tweaked his ankle. He gutted it out. Didn't seem to have bothered him, but Medvedev and Tommy Paul went back and forth. Chance to watch this game, and it came down to the tiebreaker. And the tiebreaker, Medvedev was simply superb and won it rather easily. And once it got to the third set, and I think this is where the injury may have played a difference in the game, Medvedev was definitely a better player in that. I mean, he took advantage of Tommy's, I would say, maybe not able to move as well as he was in the first set. But give credit to Medvedev. He deserved it. He goes to the final to face Alcaraz. This is actually a rematch of last year's Indian Wells tournament. So we have it, Medvedev and Alcaraz. And after the women's recap, I'll come back to preview that as well. In the women's singles, like we talked about yesterday, it was Coco Gauff versus Sakkari, and we talked about this. Sakkari beating Coco Gauff, and then she goes to face Swiatek. So in my mind, when I look at it, I mean, Sakkari has been playing really well. We've been talking about her for a while now, but Swiatek is playing the best of all the players right now in this tournament. She's pretty much beaten players rather easily. I do give the edge to Swiatek in this match. She definitely has everything going for her. Sakkari, unbelievable match against Coco. Lost the second set, but showed a lot of resiliency to come back and win the third set. Swiatek is got all the tools, in her tennis arsenal, and I have a feeling that it's going to be Swiatek lifting the trophy in the desert over Sakkari. Good run for Sakkari. Hopefully she can use this as a good, I would say, foundation for future tournaments. As far as the men's singles final is concerned, Medvedev and Alcaraz follow the Swiatek and Sakkari match. I do think that Medvedev has shown some glimpses of, I would say, not playing his best. Alcaraz definitely, slowly but surely, he did face one three-setter, bounce back and won, but I think the only other three-setter was against Sinner, who's probably one of the best players in the world. It's going to be a battle. This is a U.S. Open rematch. This is a last year finals rematch. And Medvedev got the best of Alcaraz the last time they played. It was a great match, but Alcaraz could not match Medvedev's consistency. So maybe there's something that he has learned through that process. So in my mind, I do think that Alcaraz is probably going to win in 3 sets. This is not going to be an easy match for either of them. Having played a match only yesterday, Medvedev actually played almost late into midnight on the East Coast. So to turn back and play within a few hours, especially after playing a tough 3-setter. Alcaraz too played a 3-setter, but he probably has more rest than Medvedev. So based on that, based on the age, and based on everything going for Alcaraz right now, I feel that Alcaraz is going to win this Indian Wells back-to-back. And so it's going to be Swiatek and Alcaraz, and let's see if that prediction comes true. But it's been an amazing season for Indian Wells with all the top players in the draw. I really enjoyed doing this podcast. It's been fun, predicting each and every round, each and every day. So hopefully we'll continue this. And, thank you again, Dan, for, helping with the semifinal previews yesterday. So looking forward to other sports as we turn our page to March Madness, and also the Masters, which will be coming up right after the March Madness. So with that, we wrap up the tennis. We'll probably do a quick recap of the finals tomorrow. And thank you all for listening, and thank you for supporting. Much appreciated.
Thank you for listening. Primo will be back soon.